What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. And I may be a mean cuss, but I'm the same mean cuss to everybody out on that football field. Guys, NFL is back. We are going to gamble a lot today. I'm very pumped. Evo, you're off to a great start to the season, 2-0. If you guys didn't check us out on Tuesday night, we made our picks for the Thursday and Friday night games. I went 1-1, Evo 2-0, but we got 14 games to pick today. Full slated games, man. I am fucking pumped. I am ready for football. We got college going on right now. But before we start diving into the whole football and everything with that, let's get you in here. My man, Evo, how you doing, brother? Are you pumped for tomorrow? The season's already back. We have had NFL football. Games were decent, pretty good. And now we're getting to settle in tomorrow and watch our teams, man. Ooh, here we go. I'm ready.
Yeah, look, I have a little bit longer wait because I got the Monday night game, but it is awesome to be back in the swing of things. Thursday night football, a Friday night football game. We had college sports today. A lot of gambling to happen over the past couple days. Today, tomorrow, we got a $1.8 billion Powerball to fucking participate in today. It's fantastic. We are back in it. Like we get football until March, which is out fucking standing. Super stoked. Happy that I got those bets right. You know, it's good to start the season off on the right foot. You'll hear that a lot this weekend on Sunday with the football games. So every team wants to, start off with a win. Of course you fucking do. It's fucking sports. It's football. Of course you want the win. I'm amped, dude. I'm amped. I'm ready to go. Super stoked about everything. Get into these games. Give the people our bets. What we think is going to happen in these games. Talked about this on our show earlier in the week. A lot of these are going to be plum picks, man. Plum picks. You got to feel it in your plums because right now we don't have a ton of statistics leading into this season. We haven't seen all of what these teams are on the field yet because in the preseason you're running tapioca vanilla style fucking offenses. But yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I know you're not going to do it with me, but I'm fucking doing another fucking.
Oh God, no!
I got.
Hold it together. Oh man,
we're ready to fucking go. I'm stoked. It's week 1, baby.
Brother, I don't know how you did it again. The last one fucked me up so bad. I was crying on the show, so I decided I'm not going to do that again. I'm figure those out. G's asked me. G asked if he could have some. I was like, I don't know if I want to start giving him ammonias yet.
I mean, it's legal. It's legal in all 50 states.
Legal does not mean it is a good idea. Trust me. But my man, all right, let's get into some football. Before we start betting, let's go back. Let's take a recap of the last 2 days because we have, a couple of really good games to go back, take a look at. That first game, man, started out insane. Points all over. I don't think that anybody was expecting it. I know I didn't. The way that game started, I thought I was dead in the water. The under 47.5, there was no way that was going to hit with the way the first half went.
Yeah.
And then Zeus reached down and saved me.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we talked a lot about this on our Tuesday show. Unders in week 1 are typically a good bet because teams' offenses aren't rolling yet. They're not jiving. The Cowboys and Eagles came out and everything was fucking driving. Those defenses did not look good. It didn't help the Eagles that they lose one of their best defensive players, Jalen Carter, to a Hawk Tua disqualification right off the rip of the game. Don't even have a play yet. Yes, we had the kickoff where we had a blown patellar tendon. Feel for that fullback, man. That fucking sucks. Like you could see it on his face. He was like, well, fuck, I'm just fucked. And what's up, Coach? Good to see you in here.
Hey, good luck to you and your boys this year again, Coach. They won state last year. Let's go get another one, Coach.
Very nice. But yeah, look, that game started off gangbusters. I don't think a lot of people expected not just like the scoring, but the game script that was going on. Yeah. Saw a lot of Javonte Williams, which I told you kind of reminded me a little bit of DeMarco Murray. to our guy Vasquez. I know he's going to enjoy hearing that because DeMarco Murray was one of the more solid backs that the Cowboys have had in recent memory outside of Zeke Elliott before he, tumbled like a bowling ball down a hill.
Before he ate Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, and then we saw a lot of, the Eagles feeding Saquon. Saquon looking like Saquon, looking fantastic, and completely forgetting that A.J. Brown was out there. They were feeding the ball to Goddard and Saquon, and were able to move things really well. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was able to get out there in the open field, run, get some tutties. It was a very fun, entertaining game that looked like, hey, for the first game of the NFL season, where you typically would want to see some more blockbuster type stuff, some points being scored, for the lay fan, if you will. It looked like it was going to go that way, and did not look good. And then that second half happened. We barely get into it. Lightning delay, and that just completely changed everything with that game. But before we get too far into it, your thoughts on Spitgate, on the old Hawk Tua play?
Okay, so I put out a tweet on the Raw Dog Sports and I will post whatever the fuck it is on X. And the next time that they play, Jalen Carter should suplex his ass because that cost him some money. Now, Jalen Carter cannot spit back in that scenario. Should not have spit back. But what Dak did is just as bad, if not worse, because Dak is the instigator of this entire thing. That fucking smirk and spitting at him in his general direction, you're trying to start some shit that's not within the bounds of the game. And then Jalen reacted. Dumb decision, but I understand why he reacted. That shit came from Dak to start with.
Yeah, that's, if you listen to Dak, he says, he was just, it's normal for players to spit. I mean, we saw Sirianni spitting, we see players spitting all the time. Obviously not towards another guy or on another guy. Dak says he was spitting over BB's shoulder just because he needed to spit. But the smirk right afterwards, I mean, obviously, he said, I spit. Jalen Carter said, what was that at me or something like that? And maybe that's what elicited the smirk. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Whoever throws the last punch usually is the one that gets in trouble, right? Yeah. Jalen Carter got up into his face. They were talking trash, and then he spit. Watched it real time. There was a healthy amount of time in between the alleged initial spit and Jalen Carter's Hawk Tua. And it's on Jalen Carter at that point. I don't feel any remorse for the guy for doing that, because you are one of the best, if not the best, defensive tackle in the NFL. You absolutely could have had a chance to smoke him in this game, and you set your team back. You set your defensive game plan back. You're not on the field. He's looking at potential further suspension, theoretically, for this. I don't think that he will get suspended further, because the NFL has had some iffy calls already in 2 games as far as disqualifications go. We'll get into that with our next game here from last night. But it was a bad show by Jalen Carter. I don't think that it's that. Look, if another guy spits at me, and maybe I'm not in that hyper alpha mentality, if another guy spits at me, I'm gonna be like, the fuck are you, a llama? What the ultimate sign of disrespect. It's it's not getting me like that. But look, tensions were obviously high in that game. It is first game of the season, rivalry, division. I can start to build a narrative as to why things would be so fiery, but still, at the end of the day, you got to control yourself a little bit there. And honestly, I thought it was going to be what set that Eagles team back, because the Cowboys had the game in hand for quite a while. They looked like they were the more dominant offense to an extent. And by the end of the game, that lightning delay just fucked everything up. The offenses went away. Defenses started to pick things back up. And CeeDee
very uncharacteristic drops out of CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. He had the brick hands out of nowhere, which at that point I was like, get George Pickens the ball more. When he got the ball thrown to him, George Pickens was making good plays. I mean, I watched him pancake a defender as well, blocking for CeeDee out there on one play. I was like, all right, George Pickens is in some vintage form here. Didn't look like he was getting the greatest separation, but that's not what George Pickens is. He's not a separator. He is able to make contested catches. He's good at getting those arms out and keeping a contested catch. Like when CD wasn't working out, look, in all credit to Dak. Dak was throwing a good ball that night.
Yeah.
For the most part. He was getting the ball in the right spot for CD. CD was just kind of crumbling in the situation. And it sucks because I would argue CD Lamb is a top 3 to top 5 wide receiver in the league. And he kind of cost him the game.
Yeah, I don't know how you could say that he didn't. I mean, though you consider the drops in the places where they happened at the time that they happened. Now, obviously, you never say that one play or anything like that, but it was three big time drops.
4 drops, 3 of them there at the end that were pivotal.
Yeah, man, it's hard to not
hitting him in the face mask type drops.
Yeah, CD has to feel terrible. He knows that he has to catch those balls. He would say that, and I'm sure that him and Dak, well, maybe, I don't know if they fucking talk. So a little bit of that.
I would assume they do. I would assume they talk a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. But listen, it worked out for me. The under hit. Thank you, Lightning. That under would not have hit without that. So I'll take it. Philly on the money line. You got that. So, I mean, it all worked out in the end. Dallas looked a little bit better than I thought, but also missing that huge piece out of the middle of that Philly defense almost certainly made that game much more competitive than it probably would have been had that not happened.
Yeah, look, we kind of talked about it, during the game and everything. Philly lost 5 defensive starters this offseason. That's kind of what happens when you have really talented rosters. You can't keep everybody. They allowed some of those guys to leave, not be there anymore. And then on top of that, you had Jalen Carter, which is a centerpiece for that defense. It'll be interesting going forward with Jalen Carter back out there to see how much of an upgrade there really is with this defense, because that looked like the weak point on Thursday for that Philly team was their defense. Both teams' defenses did not look good in that game. Both offenses kind of looked like they were able to just kind of move up and down the field unabated. And that's going to be a big thing, particularly for Philadelphia, because people look at Philly's defense and that Philly team as a whole, Super Bowl champs, they should still be pretty good. And I assume that they will be. But they definitely looked like they took a hefty step back in that Thursday game.
Yeah, they most certainly did. All right, brother, moving on to last night's game down in Sao Paulo. Chiefs, I had them on the money line. You took the Chargers plus the points. You didn't need them. Chargers come out on top 27-21. And Herbert, I questioned him. A lot of people questioned him. He showed up and he fucking balled out last night. He made plays when they absolutely had to be made. I mean, that run to seal the game, that's big time. That's something that he needed to do, needed to prove in a standalone big time game. Chargers for real. That's a well-coached team. Man, the Chiefs, their offense is still stagnant a little bit.
Yeah. I'm higher on the Chargers this year. I think the Chiefs roster this year is better than it was last year when they made it to the Super Bowl. I still said that I felt like the Chiefs were going to take a bit of a step back from what they were. And look, there's a lot to be said about losing Xavier Worthy really early on. If you're a Xavier Worthy fan, I am not. I think that he's heavily overrated. That being said, there's a lot built into that offense that is predicated on Xavier Worthy and what he does, how he pulls defenses, his speed, the end arounds, things like that. You also don't have my guy out there, Jalen Royals, because of a knee injury. So when you lose a receiver like Xavier Worthy, you're already down a Rashee Rice. Now you're focusing on just Travis Kelce, just Hollywood Brown. It's not a vaunted receiving core at that point. Real interesting stuff too with the run game there. Isaiah Pacheco kind of
5 carries.
They put Kareem Hunt out there for all goal line, all short yardage.
Yeah.
Which for fantasy implications, that's a big deal if you're a Pacheco owner. Yeah. And it's something to be wary of and watch if you want to go out there and you need a new running back. and getting like a Kareem Hunt because he got a lot of work. And Brashard Smith, rookie, big fan of him in the draft
I
process.
liked him coming out, man, out of SMU.
He got a lot of play as well, not only as a returner, but as a receiving back, a guy that they used in motion a lot. So fantasy implications there is something to watch for the Chiefs because they're obviously going to, depending on how bad the Xavier Worthy injury is, they're going to have to start looking towards some other people and other ways to adjust that offense. I will say this, maybe I shouldn't put it out. I think Jalen Royals, who will probably be back next week, is going to be a big part of that receiving game, especially if Xavier Worthy is out for a while. That being said, the Mahomes didn't look on point, especially early last night. It got better by the end of the game, especially when Kelsey was able to break open wide on the right side to get that long touchdown. But the real story here is twofold. Justin Herbert looked fantastic. I can't go back and watch and pay attention to every single Herbert game that there was. That felt like one of his best games ever. Because it looked like you got to see everything that he can be: a passer, a runner, a game manager. He did everything really fucking good. And Rich Eisen couldn't say it enough. I can't believe how much they're passing. I can't believe how much they're passing because Harbaugh offenses and Roman offenses are typically run heavy. And they ran the ball their fair share. O'Marion Hampton looked pretty damn good too. But they let Herbert go out there and pass. And I think that the Chiefs were expecting that Harbaugh-style offense, not a Justin Herbert-led passing attack. Keenan Allen looks like his old self.
Yeah, he still runs fucking crisp routes, dude.
He had a bad drop, but like I've kind of been saying this to people. You know, we didn't do a super deep dive in our fantasy show, but I grabbed Keenan Allen in a lot of my leagues because I was like, look, he went to a bad Bears team last year and was saddled on a depth chart behind DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and had a bad offense, bad quarterback play. And so everyone's like, he fell off the age cliff. If last night is any implication, he did not fall off an age cliff. He was just in a bad offense, bad situation. Keenan Allen immediately gets skyrocketed to a number 2 receiver on this offense. And now they're passing. He's very viable. And I set him on my bench. But like Keenan Allen looked good. That offense looked like it was humming. And at the end of the game, obviously, Chris Jones is supposed to have outside contain. He moves inside, allows Herbert to sweep out, get that run for, I believe it was 14 yards to get the first down. He got that and then some slid to kind of ice that game. Yeah. Fantastic game from Herbert. Now, the second part of this, Tahir Tart had himself a fucking game, and it almost wasn't.
What, 4 swats or some shit?
Yeah, he had a bunch of batted balls in critical moments, and it almost wasn't because he gave Travis Kelce a bitch slap.
Ooh.
And apparently open hand is cool. Spitting, no. But an open hand bitch slap to a golden child of Roger Goodell with Goodell in attendance is okay. It's a 15-yard penalty. I think the NFL is probably going to go back, look at this, levy a pretty decent fine on Tart, and probably talk to the rest and be like, yeah, that's normally an ejection because some sort of a punching motion. I've seen less as far as punches to get guys fucking kicked out.
Yeah. I was surprised that he stayed in as well, the open fist thing. But man, listen, he was all over. And Rich Eisen, was trying to shoehorn into there's the one hand, and now he's got the other hand out there. Like, we got it, Rich. Knocked down a lot of balls. But yeah, I was surprised he stayed in. I thought Travis was like, hey.
When I saw Tart walking off the field, now it might have just been a defensive substitution, but it looked like Tart was like, well, I'm done. That's my night. Like, he was walking off like he thought it was his night. And no, they conferred, they talked and said, nah. I mean, Kelsey was definitely fucking giving him a little bit of a jiu-jitsu armbar down there in Brazil, but he was the second guy. He came with the second hit, and he did get penalized. I fully expected with how much recoil Kelsey had there on on that hit. I was like, oh, that was a hell of a bitch slap. He's gone.
Oh man. Well, didn't work that way. Chiefs lose. Chargers big time win in division week 1. That's huge, massive. Those division games are always big, especially when you can get one early in the year. It sets you up. Now you're 2 games ahead.
And for the Chargers, that was an away game.
Yeah.
They get to play the Chiefs again at home, which is going to be a good thing for them in the future. And for the Chiefs, now you're 0-1. And next week, you get the Super Bowl rematch against the Eagles. Not going to be a tough or an easy team to get over. That's going to be a tough matchup, too. It is highly plausible that the Chiefs start the year 0-2.
Yeah.
Big story.
That would be wild. That would be fucking wild. But all right, brother. Are we ready to start diving in to some fucking bets that we got for the rest of the games? Because we have a full slate, 14 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super stoked to get into the rest of these. Again, a lot of these are going to be plum picks. But real quick before we do that, shout out to everyone who's watching right now. Shout out to everyone who watches later. We appreciate you. Please take some time to help us grow the channel. If you could like, share, and subscribe specifically to our YouTube, but any of our social medias outlets out there, we would love your support. Again, we are going to be giving you our bets for each of these games. We're going to pick the money line, spread, or over under for each and every one of these games, exactly how we would be betting them, because we want to make money and we want you to make money. We want you to come to us to be able to say, hey, these guys are hitting at an extreme rate like we've done in the past, and make some fucking money, because everyone could use a little bit of extra cash in the pocket right now. So please give us a like, share, subscribe, so that way you can catch us every week when we give our picks out here, and hopefully we can help you do a little bit better gambling this year.
Hell yeah. Well said, Evo. You ready to hop into it, brother?
Absolutely.
All right. You're going to run it down from FanDuel, right? All of our lines, guys, are going to come from FanDuel. Not a sponsor. Could be. But that's where we do the majority of our gambling. So that's where we are going to give you the lines. Now, before we get into this, actually, producer Amber had asked me, and I think she's actually just reminded us in the private chat, to kind of go over the way odds work a little bit for some of the people who maybe do not understand the way it all works. So everything works off of $100. So if you have a bet that is plus 100 and you bet 100, you will be given $100 on top of your original bet. So you would win 200. Now, if the odds are plus 200 and you place down a $100 bet, you would win $200 on your bet and your $100 back for a total of $300.
Net gain of 200.
Net gain of 200. Now, if the odds are plus 150, okay, it's just in between there, right? So instead of 2 times it, it's 1.5 times your money. So you'll win $150 on your hundreds for a total of $250. Okay. When it on the negatives, it works the same way. So minus 110, which is where a lot of our bets will be if you're going to pick a spread or an over under, means you pay $100, you're going to get 90 back if you win. Okay. That's all the way it works down. Everything is based off of $100. If you bet 10, if you bet 5, your units just slightly change. The math still works the same. You just have to break it down from that 100 as well. Producer Amber, did I do a good job of explaining that? All right. So everybody out there, let's make some fucking money. Let's get ready to gamble. If you are new to gambling, gamble only what you can afford to lose. If you are used to gambling, gamble what you can afford to lose. If you have a gambling problem, guys, you can check the scroll at the bottom at any time. The number is down there. We like to gamble. We call ourselves the degenerate gamblers, but some people have a problem. If you are one of those people, seek help. It is okay. The number is down below. With that, Evo, let's get into some fucking gambling.
All right. So according to FanDuel, first game that we got up here, New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. Right now, the Commanders are favored minus 6.5 or minus 102 odds. So that's a 6.5 point spread there. The over-under is 45.5. Mike, Washington Commanders came out hot last year. Surprised everyone. Jaden Daniels, hell of a rookie season. But you're going up against this Giants team that now has a somewhat more confident quarterback than they started off the year with last year in Russ Wilson. What do you think is going to happen here with this game?
So I like the Commanders a lot. When we went and did our early season and we went through and picked every single game, I had the Commanders winning a lot of games. And I think that is going to start this week. I don't know that the Giants are going to be that much better. Russell Wilson didn't really inspire me at all. Jackson Dart does a lot of good things in camp and in preseason. But does Russell Wilson bring me that same level of excitement? No, not at all, really. I was very shocked with how well Jackson performed in the preseason. But I think they're doing the right thing and letting him sit. Daboll is going to figure out how to make that work.
He's the primary backup.
He is exactly. So he will be the guy. I think the Commanders are going to be fucking awesome. They got the deal done. Terry's back in. They moved running backs around. They really like their backfield. I think their offensive line is going to be pretty good again. And that defense is well coached, man. I'm taking the Commanders and I'm dropping the points. I see this right around as a touchdown game. 6.5. The hook, obviously, always scary. But I think they're going to win this thing by 7. So I'm willing to drop those 6.5 points because I'm going to get minus 102 odds on that.
All right. And look, let me say this. I think that the Commanders are a better team than the Giants, like flat out. I do think that Russ is going to provide a decent boost, though, to this Giants team. I mean, you look at what Malik Nabers did last year, had a phenomenal year, and that was with a who's who list of fucking third string quarterbacks. So like Daniel Jones, before he went to quarterback rehab school, was whatever. But then you've got Tommy DeVito and just a random ragtag assortment out there, and he still had himself an excellent year. One thing Russ can do is feed the ball, especially not going deep down the field, feeding the ball. And you've got yak-style receivers in Wando Robinson, Malik Nabers. You've got some pretty solid options there. Is it going to be enough in this game to make a huge difference? Possibly. Enough to make me actually consider taking the Giants plus the points here. But it is week 1. We haven't seen what these offenses are yet. My lean actually for the safe play here is the Commanders money line, and that's where I'm going to go. Now, I'm also going to say this. I really do like this Commanders team too, but if there is a team that's kind of set up to have a little bit of a down year, and you can come with some excuses why the Commanders could have a down year, it would be them. I could see a scenario where the Commanders don't make the playoffs.
Sure.
Year 2 down for Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is a guy who is mobile and slim in frame. If he goes down, the year seems like it's fucking lost.
Oh, if he goes down, the year's lost.
And while that offense is good, Cliff Kingsbury is the offensive coordinator there. You look at what he did in his first year with the Cardinals, and they had a gangbusters year. And then the NFL adjusted, and they figured out what they were doing. A lot of it, what I think the success was with the Commanders last year was Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I was saying there's a difference between Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray.
Yeah, versus the scheme. I think a lot of it had to do with Jaden Daniels. That being said, the defense is older, aging. Like they are a bunch of good vets, but there's still some weakness there. Question is with the offensive line a little bit. You had injuries at right guard at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
This game could be a lot closer than we expect it to be because I don't think there's an argument right now that the Commanders are a better team than the Giants. Safe play, I'm taking Commanders money line. I don't feel good enough about the spread dropping the points there. Like I said, enough to the point that I think that the Giants could keep this close within that touchdown margin if the Commanders do kind of have that year 2 slump with Jaden Daniels.
All right. Listen, you're at least on the Commanders. I'm just expecting them to win this game in a bigger fashion. So I'm okay with that.
For what it's worth, a lot of the sharp bets are out there giving the points to the Giants. So it's something to kind of pay attention to. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers going into Jacksonville versus the Jaguars. Jags are favored in this one in Duval, or however the fuck you say it. Minus 3.5 points for the Jags at minus 115 odds, over under of 46.5. Mike, thoughts?
I think the Jags are going to suck. But I don't think the Panthers aren't very good. I think the Panthers are getting better, though. I'm excited to see what Tet McMillan can do. I'm excited to see hopefully a matchup between Tet McMillan and Travis Hunter, because that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. I think that the Panthers can win this game. I think they might win this game, but I'm not confident that they'll win this game. So if I can get 3 and the hook, I'm going with that. I like the Panthers in this game to win, but I'm not willing to risk that. I'm going to take the points, man. Panthers, I think, are going to be a more improved team, obviously losing Adam Thielen, but they were comfortable with trading him away because they like their wide receiver room. I think they keep this thing close at the very minimum, maybe lose by a field goal.
Yeah, I'm following suit. I'm doing Panthers plus the 3.5 points here. Jacksonville, look, there's definitely some potential for things to go right. This is a big make or break year for Trevor Lawrence. Apparently, his mechanics have been changed up some by Cohen. Cohen obviously is part of that McVay tree. People kind of forget that, but he was with that Rams team during the Super Bowl runs. And while he is a fucking goofball, we saw what happened last year with Baker. Baker had his best year of quarterbacking ever with Liam Cohen running that offense. And there's high potential that he could be bringing that same sort of boost to Trevor Lawrence in this Jags offense. You add in BTJ having his second year where he really started to show up by the end of the year, and a Travis Hunter there. The offense has some things that you like. I'm not so sure about that running back room, but it seems like it is going to be definitely a group effort. And the defense doesn't inspire me for the Jaguars, but Cohen's an offensive guy. He's going to focus on that offense first and getting that right, trying to make sure they do have the right guy in Trevor Lawrence. Panthers, love to see what Bryce Young did last year by the end of the year. He definitely started to come into his own. That being said, he was still just kind of an average NFL quarterback, but it was a huge leap from being one of the worst quarterbacks in the league to being average. But you do have a very solid offensive line there. You've got a good running game with Chuba Hubbard. You've got some exciting pieces in Leggett at wide receiver. Hunter Renfrow is back. And then, of course, Tet McMillan. So I think that the offense can be at least competent. That defense still scares the shit out of me. It was a terrible defense last year. I think they've improved some, but not a ton. I'm going Panthers plus the points here because I do think that this game could be relatively low scoring within that field goal margin. I'll take the 3.5 points there for the Panthers.
Yeah, for sure, brother. For sure. All right, brother. What's the next one?
All right. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers going into New York versus the Jets. Steelers are favored here, minus 3 points at plus 100 odds, and an over-under of 37.5. I already kind of told you my thoughts here. So before I give the people those thoughts, where are you at on this game, Mike?
All right, so that line has just moved from when I made my pick. So it was at 2.5, now moved to 3. That would make me even, that changes my, well, it doesn't change my pick at all. It makes me even happier with my pick. I think the Jets have a chance to win this game. We also think that this game is going to be low scoring. So I'm going to take the points and the Jets. I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers. I will be very interested to see the way this offense works because I don't know that Aaron is going to be the right guy to run this offense. I think that Justin Fields could make the Jets offense a little bit more dynamic than it was last year with fucking Aaron Rodgers. So I really think that they could just win this thing just straight outright. Plus minus 126 right now. But I'm going to take the points because that's what I originally did with my bet at plus 2.5. So Jets plus 3 for sure.
Yeah. So the Steelers in their last 4 week 1 games, they're 4-0 straight up and against the spread. Steelers do good in week 1. We saw them come out with Justin Fields last year and look like a pretty damn competent team that was predicated on defense and running the ball at the beginning of last season. And then they ended up switching to Russ Wilson and things kind of fell apart there. They weren't the same team. I can sit here and talk about Aaron Rodgers, of course, but I think we kind of know, everyone who's familiar with the show knows my thoughts on him. I think that, yeah, he can put up some statistics. He did by the end of last year. He threw more touchdown passes than Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes last year. But I still do think that he's washed. He's going into a run-first offensive scheme, this Arthur Smith scheme that is predicated on just pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock. And then the receivers don't excite me. Yeah, you got DK Metcalf, but I'm not super excited outside of that. I don't think Calvin Austin is necessarily a big mover of the score or anything like that. They invested in the run game. They brought in Caleb Johnson. They've got Jalen Warren there, and this offensive line that is so. The Jets, on the other hand, they are all in on the run game because you've got Justin Fields. One thing that we know that he can do for sure is run with the ball. He's essentially another running back. They've got Breece Hall, and they've got who's their other running back? Smith.
Edwards.
I can't think of the other big. Either way, that they've got two good running backs. They've got a good offensive line, and they rostered and plan to play 4 different tight ends. They're focused on what their strength is. I think that's one of the things that Aaron Glenn is going to be bringing from Detroit is grit on defense. He has gritty guys on defense, and he's shown to be a good defensive coordinator despite the injuries. So that defense is going to see an uptick because they just seemed mismanaged, all in a funk last year. He's going to stabilize that defense a little bit. But then he also learned from Detroit in the lean years, in the beginning, while you are working on roster construction, lean into what you are good at. This team will be good at running the ball. Yeah, they got Garrett Wilson, and him and Justin Fields might have a connection from their time at Ohio State, but they're going to lean into what they're good at, and that's running the ball, pounding the rock, trying to control the game script in that way. And so that's why I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game. I like your pick there with the Jets plus the points, and that's one of the ways I would absolutely go. I'm going with the under in this one, under 37.5. I think that this could be a relatively low-scoring game. We're talking 10-14, 10-17. 10-17 still wins you this bet. And I think that's a realistic football score for this game. I like the Jets to win it. I'm going to go with the under, though.
I mean, 20-17, this thing hits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that feels very doable for these two teams.
Yep.
So I like this bet. I think you brought him up. I think Coach Glenn is going to be a huge difference in this game. I like Coach Glenn, obviously coach the shit out of that defense up in Detroit, bringing guys in off the fucking street and competing. So I love that coaching change. Not that there was anything wrong with Saleh. I think Saleh kind of had his legs cut out from under him well before, and then the Aaron did him no fucking favors there either. So not that so Saleh's not a bad coach, but Glenn doesn't have all of those fucking distractions right now. He got to go in and be a coach, and he's got Justin Fields, who I think he likes and believes can be a capable quarterback. So I think they could win this motherfucker outright. So, but under definitely works. And if you're gonna have an under, I'll take the points.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Next game up, we got kind of an interesting one here. Not exactly what I expected, but Raiders at the Patriots. Patriots are favored in this one at home, -2.5 points, over under 43.5. And I think what's interesting here is that Patriots were one of the worst teams in the league last year. Obviously, they could only go one way, and that's up. And bringing in Vrabel is obviously a big boon for them. But the Raiders bringing in a competent quarterback in Geno Smith are the underdogs in this one, which was surprising to me. I expected people to be on the Raiders here to be winning this game. However, Vegas has the Patriots -2.5 in this one. Mike, thoughts?
Yeah, so I was also confused. This was a tough game to call. There's a lot of turnover in a lot of different areas. Obviously, head coaches, Pete Carroll and how did I just forget his name? New York or in New England. Vrabel. Two well-established, good defensive-minded head coaches. And then you add in 2 really explosive pieces at the running back on each team. Quarterbacks. Very competent quarterback in Geno Smith, who has shown that he can now be a starter in this league and be a good one, and a young guy who showed a lot of promise. I think that the difference comes down to kind of the weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I think the Raiders defense is going to be good and well coached because it's Pete Carroll. Same thing with Vrabel and this Patriots defense. The weapons, though, for the Raiders with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, I think that the pass catchers are better for the Raiders than they are for the Patriots right now. I was surprised at it this way. I think it maybe it's just because it's a home field game, but I'm riding with the underdog here because I'm going to get plus 114, or at least I got plus 114 odds when I made my bet. I don't know if it's updated now, but I'm going Raiders on the money line.
Yeah, look, I'm going to take the 2.5 points for the Raiders because apparently someone's seeing something there. Obviously, there's some home field advantage, which is usually 1.5 or so for home field advantage. Realistically, closer to probably 2.5 points, and I think that's where that number is kind of coming from. Because people don't know exactly what the Raiders are going to be. New head coach, new quarterback, new running back, a lot of new things there for the Raiders. The Patriots, obviously, they're starting from ground zero, which means we don't know what they're going to be despite having a new head coach, but a good head coach. So you're going to see a little bit of a boost there. I mean, I'm on this Patriots team this year. I think that they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. I don't know if they're playoff worthy necessarily. Whereas the Raiders, I do think can sneak into the playoffs. I think that they're a much better team. Geno Smith had the fourth most passing yards last year. Like, it shows that he is competent and capable of throwing that ball around. And they got some decent receivers in Jacoby Myers, a two-headed two-headed tight end room, Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. And then you bring in Genty, who a lot of people have, I believe you might have even had as your offensive rookie of the year candidate. Like, there's a lot of things there to like on the offense. I am a little bit scared about that defense, specifically the secondary for the Raiders, because I'm not really sure about any of those guys back there. But look, this is the first time that the Patriots have been favorites in a game since week 18 of 2023. That shows you how bad the team has been and why I say there's only one direction they can go, and that's up. I do like Drake May a lot. I like what he can do. Obviously, Trevion Henderson is exciting. Stephon Diggs, I think if he's there and healthy, can be a good, solid piece in the wide receiver room. And then the Raiders in their last 11 games as an underdog, they're 0-11 straight up and 4-7 against the spread. It doesn't look good when Vegas is putting this sort of a number out there for the Raiders, but I still like the Raiders as a better team here. I do expect this to possibly be closer because these are two teams where we don't really know what's going on. And I'll take the points in that one. Raiders plus 2.5.
All right. Raiders plus 2.5 it is, brother. Let's roll.
All right. Arizona Cardinals going into New Orleans versus the Saints. Cardinals are favored minus 6.5 points here despite being on the road. Over under of 42.5. Cardinals don't play well when they go out there to New Orleans. But this Saints team is being picked by a lot of people to be one of the three worst teams in the league, rightfully so, starting Spencer Rattler at quarterback and Tyler Shuck not far behind.
How did Tyler Shuck, who is so good apparently, lose the goddamn quarterback competition to fucking Spencer Rattler?
They needed to give the 26-year-old more time to develop.
Yeah, that was a good idea. So this game's super easy for me, man. The Saints are gonna suck.
Fuck.
They're gonna suck shit. I said it's super easy for me to make my decision.
Okay.
I think the Cardinals are also not great, but I think the Saints suck. I'm taking the Cardinals money line minus 275. Makes the most sense, the easiest bet right there, because I'm not sure, because we've seen the Saints come out and score, I don't know, fucking 85 points in 2 weeks. I don't think that's going to happen again. But I don't know what's going to happen with their offense. So I'm staying away from the over-unders. I'm staying away from the spreads. I'm just picking the team that I think wins this motherfucker, and that's the Cardinals, because the Saints stink.
Yeah. Look, if you want something to try to lean you towards the Saints a little bit statistically, or at least historically, the Saints have won 6 straight week 1 games, over the past 6 years. And then the Cardinals, they're 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 road games in week 1. But it seems like the Cardinals don't go and play good there in New Orleans. We saw what New Orleans did last year and surprised everybody, but this is a new coaching staff. Kubiak's up in Seattle, so he's not there anymore running the same thing. You got an aging team without a quarterback that you can feel any sort of confidence in there with the Saints. Cardinals, I'm still a little bit worried about that offense until I see Marvin Harrison Jr. take some sort of a step and become a competent pick where he was in the first round. And again, I don't think this is Marvin Harrison. I think it's the offensive scheme that really fucked him last year.
Wow. Will Johnson was kicking his ass all camp.
for sure. And I think that Will Johnson's just fantastic. But I'm still worried about that Cardinals offense. I'm not going to lay the 6.5 points when I'm scared about their offense, but I do think that they're the better team. I will go ahead and take the Cardinals to get the W here on the money line as well.
Cardinals money line. All right, brother.
All right. This will be fun for you. Bengals going into Cleveland. Bengals perennially not a good starter of the year type of team. However, they are favored in this one, -5.5 points at -102 odds. You can give your brownies the points, those 5.5 points for -120 odds. Over under of 47.5. Go ahead and take it away, Mike. Let me know why you think the Browns are going to win.
Because the Bengals defense is ass, and the Bengals suck early in the year. Last 2 seasons, they have started 0-2 or worse. The offensive line is not good. The Browns' defensive line is better than I believe they were last year. The Eagles had a hard time blocking the Browns' number 1 defensive line during joint practices. So I have a lot of faith that will be a huge problem for the Bengals come Sunday. Obviously, that Bengals offense is explosive. The matchups between the Browns and the Bengals have gone the Browns' way a lot of times since Joe Burrow has gotten there. Denzel Ward is one of the best corners in all of football. And he matches up against Jamar Chase incredibly well. If you go back and look, Jamar Chase does not have those big games against Cleveland. Denzel does a good job against him. I think that we apply a ton of pressure. We get back to the Stefanski way of doing things. We play defense. We run the ball. And Joe Flacco is going to be able to put the ball in the air enough with a younger, I think more talented wide receiver group than he had when the last time he was here. And we're going to win this game. I got Browns money line winning the home opener.
All right, money line at +180 points there for that one.
Right.
Look, it's some historical statistics to kind of back what you're saying here. Bengals are 1-9 straight up in weeks 1 and 2 when Burrow is the starter there, and then Burrow is actually tied for the most quarterback losses since 1999 by any quarterback. He has 5 losses against the Browns. And he's tied with Andy Dalton, also Bengals quarterback there, also has 5 losses against your Browns. Look, we talk about this year in year out. The Bengals always start slow. They always look like ass. They got them in enough of a hole last year that they couldn't get out of it and get to the playoffs despite having one of the most potent offenses in the league last year. The difference this year is that they had Burrow and that starting offense playing pretty much all preseason. They were kicking off the rust in the preseason. They haven't done that in years past. And in the preseason, that offense actually started to look like it was clicking already. And this Bengals offense, I think, could be absolute gangbusters this year. Yes, the offensive line is still mid, but they got a good running back in Chase Brown. They got 3 good receivers back there in Yoshevich, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. And then you have Joe Burrow, who's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I think they're going to be able to sling it around a lot. Now, look, the Browns defense is going to be the strength of this team. They are still very good. The question is, are they just going to be out there on the field all the time? I still have a lot of question marks about your offense, despite signing Quinshon Judkins today to his contract and getting him in-house. We'll see how long it takes for him to actually see the field.
2 weeks.
You've got some options there at wide receiver. The offensive line will hopefully be better for the Browns this year, but it's a lot of hopes for me there to see the Browns be competitive on offense. Right off the bat. I'm going with Bengals money line on this one. Look, if they hadn't have been looking as good as they were in the preseason, the Bengals, that is, I would probably ride with the norm. Bengals are bad the first 3 to 4 weeks in the year. I don't know if they're going to be bad the first 3-4 weeks. This one actually nipped me in the butt last year too, because I believe I picked the Bengals versus your Browns in Cleveland as well. And it was more of the same as the Bengals look bad. But I think that the Bengals offense, look, it is a hot seat year there for their head coach. They need to do good. And at the end of the day, I think that this Bengals team can put up 30 points on anyone any week. Despite your team having a good defense, I think that they're going to be able to put up a lot of points. And I don't know if your offense is going to be able to keep pace with that, even if the Bengals defense is just fucking dog water.
We're going to slow the game way down, dude. We're going to be running the ball a lot.
All right.
Fannin is going to be a big factor in this game.
All right. We'll see. We'll see if he gets mixed in quick enough for that. Next up, Miami Dolphins going to Indianapolis versus the Colts. Colts are favored at home by only 1.5 at minus 102 odds. Over under of 46.5 in this game. Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones starting this one instead of Anthony Richardson. And then down in Miami, you have Tyreek Hill, not the captain down there. And some questions at the running back room. Ashane going to play, but coming off of injury. Where are you at in this one, Mike?
So I think this is essentially a pick'em. It's who do you think is gonna win? I mean, minus 1.5 for the Colts at home. That's the home field advantage. I got it at minus 102. I don't know that the Dolphins are going to be any good. I don't know that the Colts are going to be any good, but I think Daniel Jones has shown at times that he can be capable of not losing you a game. Anthony Richardson literally has thrown multiple games away for this Colts team. So if they get a quarterback that won't throw the game away for them, I think they can win. I'm taking the Colts minus the 1.5 just because I can get the better odds there because it's still 1.5 still feels like a pick 'em. So yeah. I'm going Colts minus 1.5.
Look, some historicals here that aren't going to help anybody. Miami, they're minus, or they are 1-3 straight up and 0-4 against the spread last season in September. Not a good September start off for that Miami team. And the Colts, do you know when the last time that they won a week 1 game is? Any guess?
2008.
It's a little better than that.
Okay.
Reggie Wayne was catching a touchdown pass for him in this game. It was 2013.
13? Oh, wow.
2013 is the last time they won a week 1 game. They're 1-8-1 against the spread in the last 10 years in week 1. Not great against the spread. Look, I think that this is going to be a big Tyler Warren game. This is going to be his, hey, show the NFL that I am here and I am legitimate and one of the better tight ends in the league. He's going to be this year's Brock Bowers as far as the tight ends go, in my opinion. I'm taking the Colts money line in this one. I want to drop the 1.5 there. It is better odds, minus 102 if you're taking the spread, minus 108 if you're just taking the money line. It's not that big of a move for me, though, enough for me to take dropping the points there. So I'm just going to take Colts money line. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think the Dolphins are going to be one of the, if not the worst team in the NFL this year. You would think that should be the Saints. And I think that they're going to be having a hell of a run with the Saints to try to get that top overall pick. I think both teams are going to be bad. But the Colts, to me, Daniel Jones, like you said, he can be a game manager. He can kind of spread the ball around. They have a lot of offensive weapons for this Colts team and a pretty good offensive line. And the Dolphins inspire zero confidence for me and have one of the worst secondaries in the league. Daniel Jones doesn't have to be a good quarterback in this game. He just has to not fuck up.
Exactly. Don't throw it away.
His offensive weapons will be able to run all over this Dolphins defense. I don't care that it's being played in a dome, and Miami traditionally plays better indoors. The Colts have just that much better of an offense versus that bad of a defense. And the Dolphins offense doesn't scare me as much as it should, or as it could not 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this Colts defense, I think, is going to surprise some people this year. They are going to be at least league average, maybe a little bit better because they have improved a bunch this offseason. Cam Bynum going out there is a good get for them. So Colts win this one for me.
All right. Moving on. Tampa Bay next, right, is what you got?
Yes, sir. Tampa Bay and the Falcons in Atlanta. Michael Big Penix starting for this Falcons team. But they are the underdogs at home. Plus 1.5 points for the Falcons, minus 1.5 at minus 110 odds for the Buccaneers, over under of 47.5. And this one is actually interesting because the Bucs, despite me thinking that they're going to be the second best team in the NFC, or maybe the best team in the NFC, I can't remember which in our record predictions, but I got them being pretty fucking good this year. They were pretty damn good last year. I said it earlier. Baker Mayfield had his best season as a passer last year. The one team that the Bucs did not do good against was the Falcons. Week 1 divisional home underdogs are 18-4 against the spread. Keep that in mind in general. But Atlanta won and covered both their matchups versus the Bucs last year, and both of those games became shootouts. Both of them hit the overs. It was a Kirk Cousins game where I think he threw 5 touchdowns versus the Bucs in a win. I think that the Falcons are going to be an okay team this year, very much so predicated on Penix and how he performs versus Cousins. And I really like this Bucs team, but it seems like the Falcons always have the Bucs number, at least in recent memory. Where are you going in this one, Mike?
So Falcons fans hate me, so I'm gonna give them more reasons to hate me. I don't think they're gonna be that good. I really don't. Like, I know they added pass rushers, but we haven't seen them do anything.
Well, it's 2 first-round pass rushers, and neither of them are starters.
Yeah, I just don't understand why they think that they have gotten so much better. I didn't see this massive influx of talent that's going to be showing up week 1 and making them this incredible team. I mean, sure, when Kirk Cousins was leading them early in the season, they looked pretty good. Michael Penix does not have that same level of experience as a Kirk Cousins. I don't think that their defense is good at all, really. I think Baker, who showed last year, like you said, he had his best year, and he's also becoming more and more mature. Baker is becoming a professional quarterback. Michael Penix isn't there yet. Sure, they want to. I understand 18-4 home underdogs. I do not care. I think the Bucs are a better team. I'm dropping the points. They lost twice last year. This plum pick, I'll go against the odds. I do not give a shit. Bucs minus 1.5.
Yeah. So look, Penix last 3 games were pretty good. However, he played some dog water teams to do that. The Falcons on offense there's a lot there to be excited about. Obviously, Drake London kind of coming into his own. You got Bijan, I believe it's Bajan. He corrected everybody. But we think the world of him as far as a running back. We think that he's got all the talent in the world to be one of the better ones in the game. And that offensive line is very stout. Penix is a left-hand thrower. They lost their right tackle, Caleb McGarry, for the year, which means his blindside blocker is not going to be there. You're talking about a guy who doesn't have a ton of starting experience or a ton of experience in the league. Some question marks about the mobility with his knees. I think Penix obviously has a big arm, but I need to see more of it to show that he's actually the guy who should be going forward there as the starter. Not that Kirk isn't the answer there. I don't know if that's the case. But the defense does definitely scare me there for the Falcons. Yes, you added two first-round edge rushers, but your pass rush in general has been absolute shit. Those guys aren't starting. They're going to get mixed in. I'm sure of it. But the Buccaneers offense, yeah, Liam Cohen's not there anymore. I think that they aren't going to see a big drop-off there. And you have a guy in Emeka Egbuka who I picked to be the offensive rookie of the year. I think that he's going to have a great game. I could see the over hitting in this game if those offenses both start going off. Tristan Wirf's not playing in that game. That is scary for me, but that Bucs offensive line still has shown up pretty damn well despite Wirf's having some injuries. I'm dropping the points as well. I'm going Tampa Bay minus 1.5. I like them in this game. I like them to be an extremely good team in the NFC this year based off of our record predictions. And hopefully the Falcons get knocked in the teeth so that way week 2 on Sunday Night Football versus my Vikings, where I will be there, that they are already behind the 8 ball and hurting from that. So Tampa Bay minus points for me.
Hell yeah. Moving on to our first afternoon game. We got Tennessee Titans heading out to Denver, taking on the Broncos. Right now, Denver Broncos favored in this game. And honestly, it makes mostly, well, maybe, I hate my computer sometimes. There it is. The Broncos favored in this game by 8.5. Listen, that's a lot of points, but it makes a lot of sense. The Broncos are projected to be one of the better teams in the NFL. Titans, obviously worst team in the NFL last year. Rookie quarterback, over under in this game, 42.5. That's a lot of points considering how good this Broncos defense is. And we don't know shit about this Titans offense yet. Evo, my man, where are you going in this game? Like I said, -8.5. Broncos are favorite, over under 42.5.
Yeah, look, I expect a little bit of a return to the norm, if you will, even though we don't have a norm for Bo Nix yet. I expect him to regress a little bit, not be bad, but regress a little bit. I don't expect it to be like a super high potent offense unless RJ Harvey really shows to be the guy. And he's not number one in the depth chart right now. I do like J.K. Dobbins, though. I think they're going to have a really stout running room. And I think that this team, the Sean Payton team, is probably going to be predicated a lot on control the game script. One of the best defenses in the league. You're going to be able to slow down opposing offenses. And then you've got a hell of a running back room. You're going to be able to run the ball, control that game script. And when you do need to get little dink dunk passes out there, Bo Nix is the guy for you. So I don't think that they're going to be putting up a lot of points. But the Broncos are a vastly superior team here. Like, I don't have any faith in that Titans offense. Even with Cam Ward, who I think could be a good quarterback, I'm not impressed by any of the offensive guys on that team, really. The defense, not very impressed by either. 8.5 points, I'm not dropping it here. I would consider taking that under, but I'm going to play it safe because I think that this game could be like 24-7, 24-10, 24-6 even. I'm not sure that we're going to be seeing much touchdown scoring from this Titans team. I'm taking the Broncos on the money line, though, even though I am intrigued by that under.
Okay. I am following suit, man. I'm nervous about the points. And listen, I already got super lucky with one under, so I'm going to stay away from another under this week. I'm happy I hit one. The Broncos are just way better. They're so much better. I'm going Broncos money line. It makes the most sense.
Look, I'm not an over-under guy in general. I do not like taking over-unders. But if you're going to take over-unders, week 1 and week 2 are kind of the time to do it. And that's why I was even leaning more towards, maybe I should just do the under here because I felt like you were probably going to take the money line there for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not wanting to drop those points, especially when I'm talking about, them not putting up a ton of points. And when the under's in play, I don't like fucking dropping points either. But we'll keep it safe. It's week 1. Let's build ourselves a little bit of a lead here. Broncos money line.
Agreed.
All right, next up, San Francisco 49ers going into Seattle versus the Seahawks. 49ers are favored in this one, -1.5 points. Over under 43.5. Christian McCaffrey shows up on the injury report, which I think is the biggest news surrounding this game right now. I believe he is expected to start, despite the calf issue. Mike, thoughts on this game?
He was expected to start last year. There's a lot of things that were expected. The 49ers have been a really good team for a really long time, but injuries have kind of derailed them. I think that the depth is there. I think that they are a quality team, and the Seahawks have a lot of turnover. I'm going to lean towards the 49ers on the money line, just winning this game. I don't want to adjust any points. I don't want to mess with any of that. I'm not going over under. This is a divisional game. These games are always tight. So I'm not feeling any of that. I think, though, that if the 49ers are healthy, if Christian plays, that they are better and they can win this game outright. So I'm going 49ers money line at -118.
All right. I'm dropping the points for the 49ers. Look, Sam Darnold did great things for my team last year. He did. You don't have Kevin O'Connell there anymore. You don't have an offensive head coach. You do have Clint Kubiak. They're going to run the ball a lot. And I think that's going to be gangbusters for Kenneth Walker. But this 49ers team, look, as I talk about the game more and as I've mulled it over, a lot of me feels like the Seahawks are going to win this one at home. I like their offensive coordinator switch. I like their run game setup. I'm not sold on Darnold despite seeing him all of last year. Offensive line should be better there, but there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to pick Seattle in this game. But my plum pick, which is what we got to go off of here, is that the 49ers are actually going to be better than people expected. Interesting thing with the 49ers is that after a down year, they typically go to the NFC Championship game. Like, that's how it's been under Shanahan. They had a down year last year, a lot of injuries, but Christian McCaffrey, I do expect to play. I think that there's a little bit of flack out there about his injury, because I think he's going to be on the injury report like every fucking week, because it's Christian McCaffrey. He's often injured, and it's easy to make teams second guess and be like, oh, is he actually going to play or not? No, he's going to fucking play. I think he's like the only running back on that team who's actually got a semblance of health to him. I think Ricky Pearsall is going to have a big year. Brock Purdy's going to they got Juwan Jennings, injuries going away and contract worked out where he's getting some extra money this year. He showed up really well last year. And then Robert Saleh being back with that defense is going to provide some big dividends.
Agreed.
I'm going San Fran. I'm actually dropping the points this one for San Francisco to win this game.
A little more confident than I am, but all right, I like it. I'm sure Joe Rockstar would love to hear that we're on the 49ers.
Yeah. All right. Big NFC North matchup here. Detroit Lions going into Green Bay versus the Packers, with Micah Parsons probably going to play despite a back issue and getting an epidural. But Packers are favored here, -2.5 points. They're expected now by Vegas to win the NFC North because of this Micah Parsons move. We've talked about how we think that it's going to move the needle, but not move the needle that much on this show. It'll be interesting to kind of see what happens. And then there's a lot of question marks with this Lions team, losing multiple coordinators, a completely new interior offensive line. You don't have Zeitler anymore. You don't have Frank Ragnow anymore. A lot of turnover there with that Lions team. Over under a 47.5 points. And this is a big one for the NFC North, because every game, divisional game for this NFC North, which has a very tough schedule this year for all these teams. Every game is going to matter in the division, because I think that we could potentially see 3 teams go to the playoffs from this division. And so starting off with divisional matchups in the NFC North is big. Mike, thoughts on this one?
I do not think that Jordan Love is the caliber of quarterback that people continue to make him out to be. I do not understand the infatuation. I haven't understood it for quite some time. Does adding Michael Parsons make them better? Yeah, Michael Parsons fucking all pro. Of course it makes them better. But I don't think that the Lions are going to be that much worse. Yes, losing your coordinators sucks. But Dan Campbell has continually brought in guys that he knows, that are his guys, that he trusts, that run things that he wants to run, and that have the exact same type of mindset that he has. He doesn't hire people that don't do that type of shit. So I don't know that there's going to be this massive drop-off. I think Jared Goff is going to continue to be a stud. You want to talk about a two-headed monster at running back? That's what the Lions are. And they can do that in spades. They have excellent weapons on the outside as well. The Packers have one guy that people are excited about in Matthew Golden, and no other consistent wide receivers. Why the fuck is everybody on the Packers' dick so hard? I get it. They made a huge trade. The Micah Parsons news is, I think, infecting people's brains with the recency bias that they're going to be spectacular. Why? Why are they so much better? I don't see it. I'm going Lions money line at +110 odds.
Yeah, look, Goff is 8-0 against the spread in week 1 in his career. I'm taking Detroit Lions +2.5 points. I'm kind of the same ilk. I'm not a Jordan Love believer. We've not been Jordan Love believers on this show for the most part. He's got severe accuracy issues. I'm not completely sold on Matthew Golden either, to be honest. I think that the Lions are going to take a bigger step back than maybe you are.
Yeah, I understand.
I still think they're going to be a fucking good team. That, like, Dan Campbell, schematically, I don't know that he's there. Like, as far as what Ben Johnson brought, what Aaron Glenn brought. What I do know Dan Campbell brings is the fucking grit. This is going to be a gritty team still. They're still going to be a team that goes for it heavily on 4th downs. They're going to be a team that tries to run it down your throat. Jared Goff, like the offense, the biggest switch on the offense, I think, is going to be the trickery. Like, you don't have the trickery genius that Ben Johnson would bring. Teams don't need that to be really fucking good on offense, especially when you have the caliber of skill players that they have. And one thing that I think that we're going to see Detroit do on defense is they're going to say, "Oh, Micah Parsons is your new shiny toy. We are going to try to run it right at him." They're going to test Micah Parsons, who is just newly inaugurated in the system with a back injury. They're going to test him really early on. That's going to be specific play packages targeted towards Micah Parsons to test it out. And if they start to see any sort of a weakness, any sort of an issue there, they're going to start feeding it towards him. I think this could be a close game, but I'm going to take Lions plus the 2.5 points here. Hopefully they start off the year with a win, and then middling after that for my NFC North predictions. I would love to have it be a slug match there, but give me the Lions in this one.
All right. Just a little extra background to help people. New offensive coordinator for the Lions, John Morton. Okay. In 2022, served as an offensive assistant with the Lions, who's already been with the organization. And over the last 2 seasons, was the passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos and worked with Sean Payton. This is somebody who's going to be able to fucking call offense, I think. Yeah. He's already been in the organization. Dan knows this guy. I do not listen. Ben Johnson's a damn good coach. There's a reason he's a head coach now. I don't think that Dan Campbell brings in and hires bad people.
No. And look, the weakness on this offense for the Lions is going to be that interior offensive line. Micah Parsons is an edge rusher. I'm not scared by the Packers' interior pass rush. Yes, there's a such thing as stunts and twists. I get it. But that offensive line is still going to be all right. And despite it being a new interior offensive line for that Lions team, I still think they're going to be all right. They're not going to be as good as they were.
Think about the way the Broncos have passed the ball and what they've been doing, like the shorter to intermediate passing games that they run, and how that can help your offensive line, especially if you have a new interior offensive line. I think this lines up really well for the Lions. I really do. But we got to get off this one. Let's go on to the next game, brother.
Yep, Houston Texans going into LA versus the Rams. Rams are favored -3 points, over under of 43.5. Questions about Stafford's back health, of course, but to me, this one is a little more about an offensive line in this game. Mike, where are you going in this one?
So actually, I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. One of the more fun games because if Stafford does play, the offense is really good. I think the Texans' offense can be really good, especially now that we've gotten a little bit of the rust knocked off, got some additional pieces in that offensive passing game with Christian Kirk. I'm actually going the over here. 43.5 felt a little low to me. So I like the over. I see a little bit more points being scored here because these two offenses, if they are healthy, can score quite a bit of points. So I'm going over 43.5.
All right. D'Amico Ryans 1-6 against the spread in September as a head coach. Doesn't bode well for spreads for him in September. Look, the Rams, their team didn't change up that much from last year. They were a very good playoff team. Matt Stafford is an old man. He has back issues. We understand this.
Yep.
We're old men with back issues. But he's also a professional. They're going to get him the correct help where he's going to be out there in the field, because if he's not out there, their season's probably lost. I don't know that you're going to ride a whole lot of faith in Stetson Bennett for the long term. This is a good Rams team, good defense, good offense. This Houston Texans team has the potential to have one of the best defenses in the league and a spectacular offense outside of that offensive line. You're starting Ed Ingram at right guard. You're starting, I believe, Ariante Ursary at left tackle, a rookie who I felt like could have been a better guard at the professional level. I think the offensive line is still going to be trash. Nick Chubb, does he still have what it takes to be a competent starting running back there behind a bad offensive line? So we'll see. I like Stroud. I like some of their offensive weapons, but I think that pass rush from the Rams is going to be able to get home more and disrupt things in LA. I'm taking the Rams, and I'm dropping the points in this one. I think they will by touchdown.
Wow. What was it? Minus what?
3.
3 even?
Yep. -3 even.
Okay.
Alrighty, next up, Baltimore Ravens going against the Buffalo Bills. Sunday football. This is a big one there. Sunday night football.
Sunday night.
Pretty much, I believe, consensus, best two teams in the AFC going up against each other here.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this one. This is going to be a fun game. Like, I'll be honest, from the rip, all right, Bills right now are plus 1.5 points. A home dog, -1.5 for the Ravens. Over under of 50.5 points here. To me, this is really, really close to a coin flip game. Two really fucking good teams here. But I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. I'm going Ravens. I'm dropping the 1.5 for the Ravens.
Ravens 1.5.
I think top to bottom, they're a better roster. I think this is Lamar kind of cementing himself, putting that flag out there for another MVP year. I love the Bills. I really do. I think that this should hopefully be our AFC championship game. Again, Ravens and Bills. I think that they're both phenomenal. I like the Ravens a little bit more right now. I do. And it's a plum pick completely. But this truly is a coin flip game to me. Like, I think both these teams are fantastic. I think the Bills being an underdog at home in prime time, front of the fucking Bills Mafia, that provides quite a bit. But man, like it is really a coin flip for me. Plum pick going -1.5 there for the Bills. One
for the
one
Bills
thing
or for the Ravens?
Excuse me, for the Ravens.
Okay.
-1.5 for the Ravens. And one thing to note here, Lamar and the Ravens, they are 7-1 straight up and against the spread in prime time since 2022. They do play good in prime time, which is what's edging me a little bit into dropping those points.
Edging, you say?
I'm leaking.
Ooh. This is a tough game, obviously. But I'm gonna stick with what my model projected out when I did my season bets. I have
model.
Yeah, my model. Yeah. The Ravens I had finishing the season 16-1. And they only lost one game. And that game that I chose that they would lose was this game. I think they're going to be special. I think the Ravens are going to be fantastic. But the Bills at home, and now they're dogs. Listen, I'm all for more rivalries. The Mahomes and Burrow rivalries is kind of fun. But I got to tell you, I think if we want to have those Brady and Manning like rivalry days again, the guys that I want to see compete in that rivalry, I want Lamar versus Josh Allen. I want that to become the rivalry that everybody is talking about, that everybody is watching, because that is the new modern day quarterback, the guy that can move, run, still slings the ball all over the place. Now they do it in slightly different ways, but I love this game. I think it's going to be fucking awesome to watch, but I'm going to stick with what I projected before, what I think, like just the Bills at home week 1. Hopefully we'll see some Bildos out there, but I'm going Bills money line.
All righty. And that takes us to our last game, Monday Night Football. Again, if you stuck with us, if you joined us at any point in time, we really, really appreciate you hanging out, listening to our picks and our bullshit thoughts. Remember, we're two dummy thick idiots who are just giving out some conjecture-filled picks on these NFL games in week 1. A lot of it is plum picks. But thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel. Got to shill a little bit here to try to help grow the brand. But Monday Night Football, my Vikings going into Chicago. JJ McCarthy's first game as a starting quarterback versus Caleb Williams and this Chicago Bears team with new head coach Ben Johnson. Vikings are favored -1.5. Home dogs for the Bears. Over under of 43.5 points. Interesting article.
Yeah.
Just came out about Caleb Williams. A hit piece, if you will. It was talked about the same writers did a hit piece on Aaron Rodgers when he was with the Packers as well. The thing is that these hit pieces are accurate. It seems like the stuff that was said about Rodgers, accurate. Sources, coaches, and players from the team in this situation with the Bears and Caleb Williams sources were from players and coaches with this team, talking about how Caleb Williams is running a high school offense, was a diva. Just not a good look after the book, the memoir comes out about Caleb not wanting to go to the Bears, wanting to go to the Vikings and stuff like that. And then this piece about how it wasn't just the Bears coaching staff being bad to Caleb, but Caleb just did not seem ready to be a professional quarterback.
Shocker.
Look, Ben Johnson, all the respect to Ben Johnson. He has done fantastic things with Detroit. I think that he probably runs a somewhat more complicated offense than what Caleb had last year. I don't know that Caleb is ready for that. I think Caleb's issues are still hold on to the ball too long, get sacked. They have a lot of offensive weapons there that are scary. That defense is so. You're going up against Brian Flores and this Vikings defense, who I think the world of. I think they're going to be fantastic. JJ McCarthy, obviously, I think is going to be fantastic, but I don't think they were going to throw a lot on his shoulders off the rip. I think game script is going to be run the ball a lot with Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones. And then you get a vibe guy back like Adam Thielen, who has traditionally had the number of the Bears. I mean, of course, I like my Vikings in this game. Not just being a homer, but I do think that this Vikings team is going to be very good. Is getting slept on a little bit by people. I'm taking Vikings money line to win this game on Monday night.
Yeah, so Vikings money line is the safest bet in my opinion, because in my mind it makes the most sense. I think the Bears are going to be well coached, but also we had some very serious questions about Caleb Williams. This article does not help alleviate any of those questions. I remember very distinctly saying at one point that he was going to probably be one of two guys. He was going to be Aaron Rodgers or he was going to be Zach Wilson. Right now, he's Zach Wilson. He holds on to the ball too long, doesn't understand things. Like Aaron Rodgers early in his career was a stud. He was a dog. He won MVPs. He's won a Super Bowl. But he's fucking obnoxious and pain in the ass to deal with. That's what Caleb Williams could be. Because guess what? Caleb Williams is fucking obnoxious. Dealing with all the bullshit that goes on around him is obnoxious. But right now, he's being Zach Wilson because he's not getting better, and this shit doesn't help. I'm on the Vikings, and I'm pretty sure, let me double check. I dropped the points. Yeah, I did. I'm dropping the points. Vikings -1.5. Listen, I will be ready to send you the money that my dad is going to owe you because he still wants that $20 bet, Bears versus Vikings.
I'm in.
Yeah, I figured you would be.
Yep. Look, if you want a reason to try to pick the Bears here, Vikings traditionally have not been good in prime time.
That's because you had Kirk Cousins. That's not fair to you.
Yeah, that's what I got to say is they haven't been great in prime time. This is a different year. This is a different quarterback. This is a team that is kind of gone all in McCarthy's year one, building this team out with a lot of really good veterans. They brought in new defensive line. They're going to be getting interior pressure that they haven't had in years past. They've got insane pass rushers. That defense is going to make it a rough day for Caleb Williams, in my opinion. Now, Ben Johnson also has had the Vikings number the past couple of years. He's been able to thwart that Flores defense, but he's been doing it with Jared Goff. Jared Goff is able to see pressure, recognize pressure, make the correct throw. I haven't seen that from Caleb Williams. I've seen him fucking mentally break down, hold on to the ball, take sacks. We could be seeing 4 or 5 sacks at least on Monday night, I think. I'm bullish on my Vikings, but I'm definitely bullish on them playing the Bears. I think that JJ McCarthy is going to bring a whole different type of moxie that this team hasn't had. So yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. Both on the Vikes. Brother, that's all the games, but we are not done gambling yet. We have one more thing for the people. Our dog, Blitz, is a big ass bet that he wants us to do. So we are going to hit Blitz's big bets, 3-leg parlay. We talked about Kenneth Walker a little earlier. We are rocking with the Seahawks theme. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we have those raw dog. Nope. Where is he? Oh, right. No, I can't turn my finger that way. Fuck it. There we go. I'm a dumbass.
Amber's a lucky lady.
That thing.
Where do I put my finger?
I know, yeah. Yeah, she's very happy. Anyways, yeah, up there. We got one of those for every team, so we're gonna make sure that we feature those when we make our bets this week. Kenneth Walker, the longest odds, but I think his ass gets in the end zone. We talked about it before, plus 125. Evo, you were dead set on Jets, Pittsburgh under 37.5. You even took that as your bet for the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got Flacco. You're big on your boy Flacco there, getting 225 or more passing yards against the absolutely terrible Bengals defense and defensive secondary. You better hope Trey Hendrickson doesn't get home.
Listen, if the Browns are struggling in this game and behind, Joe Flacco will have to throw the ball. I think that there's going to be some points scored in this game by the Browns because the Bengals defense is atrocious. Yeah. We'll see how it plays out. I'm excited for this though, man. Plus 574 odds. That feels pretty good. It's a decent little bet. $10 will win you $57.40. Just for everybody who got that little bit of a lesson earlier. If you were going to put $100 down on this thing, you'd win $574.
And to be completely clear, some of these odds have moved since we made this. Joe Flacco is now minus 178, making your odds plus 576. So if you put, just say a 10-piece down, just put a 10-piece down, you're in line to win $57.68. So if you want to bet small, a little more responsible, you could still win over $50 on this game.
Hell yeah.
Or on this parlay, I should say.
On Blitz's big ass bet. I like it, man. He is a good boy. He fucking let's ride that rocket to the moon.
Hell yeah. Blitz's red rocket plum play here. Kenneth Walker, anytime touchdown. Jets and Pittsburgh under and Joe Flacco, 225 or more passing yards. Win you some money this weekend.
Hell yeah. Let's win some cash. Let's get all the people out there some cash. Guys, we will make sure that we get our picks published. If you didn't get to watch the entire show, producer Amber is going back right now. I'm pretty sure creating all of the little thumbnails or the timelines so you guys can go back and check for whatever game you want to bet. But thank you, everybody. We have made it back to the NFL season. Our next show will be Tuesday. We'll be breaking down all these games, going a little bit of a recap, and getting ready to gamble on the Thursday night upcoming game. So everybody in here, thank you very much. We are going to get the fuck out of here, though. But before we do that, Evo, give the people one last word.
Skol Vikings, baby. Let's start off with a win. Let's show the NFL who JJ McCarthy is. I'm here for my boy.
Oh, yeah. I hope you guys have a good time on Monday night. And I'm sure my dad will not be very happy when it's all over. But, guys, thank you very much. This is Raw Dog Sports. Anytime you spend some time with us, we are forever grateful. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So whenever you give a little bit to us, it means the world. With that, we're going to get the fuck out of here. We will see you guys on Tuesday night. See ya!